Hello, hello. Welcome to a Sunday shift.
Happy Sunday, everyone, as much as you can possibly be during this very fraught time in
Mm.
America and in GH land. Um,
I can't, don't even get me started. Probably cry again. Um, Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend about us. We're like seeing an uptick in like shares and comments, and we really, really love that. Someone left us a comment last week, and I had to reflect on it. And it was like, y'all are so negative. And I was like, damn, I guess I really was negative last week. And I was like, and they about to kill Sam, so I'm gonna really be negative. But I am gonna try to pull out the things that I did like because there were things. Um,
mm,
and I'm still in Wisconsin. Like every electoral person in the world, I mean, like Kamala's been here, Barack Obama's been here, Cardi B has been here, my girl Flo Millie's been here. It's I think Obama's here now, actually speaking. So it's been busy. I told Tanya I was gonna go sit at somebody's like front desk and greet volunteers on Monday and Tuesday and feel like I did something. So shout out to people who have not only voted but given their time.
yeah, I mean, it's been not as exciting here in California, where I guess the world feels that the vote is on lock, which is fine. But a lot of people from California have been going to other states like Arizona and Nevada,
Hmm.
and I've stayed here.
Yeah.
I've been focusing on local. I've been helping to support my boss as she runs for reelection, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. But Oakland is like like very everyone's nervous about what's going to happen with Oakland because there are 5 seats open. There are 2 recalls on the ballot, and
It's a
one
lot.
of them, it's a lot. And so it's almost everyone's as nervous about what's going to happen in Oakland as what's going to happen in the US. So it's just
Yeah.
going to be an interesting day. This is every I imagine every election people say this is the most important election in the United States history.
This feels like it's a. This
It's
does
really
indeed feel like.
feels like it. It
Yeah,
does.
it
So
does. It does. It had the. It feels like it's been like a steady increase, and
yeah.
making and that actually being true. Try to listen, living in these unprecedented times. Let's maybe get
Hmm.
some precedent. Um, yeah, I mean, shout out to like people who do this work, and like I am kind of removed. I mean, I'm working on like some local stuff, and so that's why I'll be doing some local stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and thank God for people who do voter guides because I don't know if you're like a California voter. Shout out to anybody. I know Tara is a California voter and she listens to us. Our ballots, we're basically legislators. We just like really are like passing laws. And so thank goodness for like organizations that you trust doing voter guides. I'm just kind of laughing because I remember when we first started this podcast, we're like, we're just not going to really get political. And every week we're like, do your civic duty.
And even the show itself can be political. So I think we were
Yeah.
a bit naive to think that we
Yeah.
couldn't, it wouldn't be political. I mean, this is supposed to
Yeah.
be our personal escape from politics because we kind of work in it. But man, some people, I saw this quote, Nina Turner keeps tweeting it. She's like, people say, I don't do politics. And she's like, well, politics is going to do you. So
That's right.
that's
That's right.
basically true.
That's real.
So,
That's real. Well, make sure you
mhm.
go out and vote, do that, and just like get involved
Mhm.
as much as you can because it's real out here and care about each other and be kind to each other. I was watching the Megan Thee Stallion documentary. It's on Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
And it just really shook me. And I think even with like losing Kelly from the show, all of this like came up for me because I was thinking about how um, I used to base my college class schedule around GH. Like
Mhm.
it came on at 2 p.m. Because it was like Port Charles came on at 11:30. Then it was All My Children at noon. 1 o'clock was One Life to Live, and 2 o'clock was GH. And so I would like strategically be like, okay, so this is the day I could do class, whatever. Um, and I didn't do any classes at 2 o'clock. Um, and it made me think about how long I've been watching the show, and how different my life is. I was a teenager when I started watching the show. Um, and then just like looking at this documentary about like what would it mean for my life to have been put on blast, and my mistakes and who I dated and all of those things we put on blast when I was like 20. Ooh, that was like what I kept thinking about when I was watching the doc, and it just like continued to make me think about how long these soaps have been in our lives. So it's just been a lot of thought this week, particularly with like losing this character that's been with me since, you know, college. That was my writer. So anyway, how was your week before we hop into the show?
I actually, well, finished Agatha All Along, which
Hmm.
people are saying is one of the best MCU TV series.
Okay.
I thought it was great. I don't know about the best, but it was great.
I
Um,
haven't finished it. I did like Loki. I liked WandaVision. Did
yeah,
not like Winter Soldier,
and the
and
Captain
the
America.
Falcon and Winter
Yeah, the
Soldier. I did not
Falcon
like
and
that.
Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm gonna
Um,
watch Agatha though.
yeah. And also I watched GH. I watched old episodes of General
Me
Hospital
too.
on Roku and on Amazon Prime. There's two methods you guys can watch. So if you're
Yeah,
on Roku, there's this live streaming section. You go to the live streaming section and they have a whole channel on General Hospital. And the same thing
yeah.
on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime has a live streaming section and the whole channel is on General Hospital. And they are
Are they
both
the
actually
same shows? Are the same
they're doing
seasons?
different seasons. So
Okay.
I think the Roku one is on season 56, which is around the time where Peter was still around
Mm-hmm.
the time where Kiki was died, and also around the time where old Nina, Michelle Stafford was playing Nina.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's actually interesting, and I have a reflection about it when we talk about Kelly Monaco, because I was looking at um how a death played out and how this death is playing out, and I wanted to make a note about that. So I did a lot of watching of old episodes and of GH, which was really interesting, really cool to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was not watching on Roku. I did know that it was on Roku because I'm
Uh-huh.
at my mom's house still in Milwaukee. It's actually very cold today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like trying to like watch the show on her TV when like the show was coming on, and
Mm-hmm.
then it kept giving me the Roku version of it. And I was like,
Mm.
and then I was like, Kiki, what's going on
Hey, it's
here?
Kiki.
This is weird. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And the actor Haley, I can't remember her last name, but she's on Young and the Restless now.
That's right. That's right. So
So,
I was watching, yeah, I've been just watching J Sam clips on YouTube
oh yeah.
and the feels.
Hmm.
Let's actually just get into it. And let's
Yeah.
talk about performers of the week. I'm sure you have many, and I have some things I want to say too about some of the performances.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, all of our focus has been on the exit of Kelly Monaco. So a lot of my performers the week is basically kind of ensemble-ish, but with some notables around that storyline where we
Hmm.
have um the actors who are playing, Danny, and the actors who are playing Rocco. I want to give a special shout out to them because this is probably one of their first serious storylines that they're having to act out. And I think they both did a marvelous job of seeing a lot of comparing between the two, which I don't necessarily like, especially when it
I
comes
don't
to
like that at
makeup.
all.
new younger actors. I think they both did a great job. So I just want to give a shout out to those young men. Also, and I hate doing this because I do not like her, but Nancy Legrand pulled
I
it
know. I
out.
thought about you.
I think she did, but I did not cry when she had her scenes. But I do think she did a great job. But man, the tears started when it was Steve Burton.
Oh my God.
I was like, this I can't because I was actually watching the show throughout their whole arc. And
Yeah,
so
me
it
too.
did bring about so many memories. And it just, when they did the flashbacks and everything, and Steve Burton, a lot of people say he rarely emotes. And like, they think that because of that, he's not as great an actor. But people forget that Jason's not supposed to emote. He's supposed to
Right.
be he's supposed to be stone cold. But he was
Right.
definitely not stone cold when it comes to Sam. He
Uh,
laughs when it comes to Sam. He has feelings. He cries. He's sad. He's happy when it comes to Sam. Sam brings out those emotions in Jason as a character. And it definitely happened when he was saying
Preach.
goodbye. So, Steve Burton, shout out to you. Um, yeah, it was just a pretty, very emotional week. Um, I think if you want it, people were like, we're all negative. I think the positive side, I just want to, well, I guess this is more of a hot take. So, I, just want to give a shout out to all of those. I mean, even, Jeannie Francis, she, like a lot of people, I think were starting to be mad at her because not understanding what some of her spoiler clips was actually conveying, but I think she did a good job. Dominic Zambronia,
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just everyone that had to say goodbye. And then finally, and this is what I wanted to talk about, shout out to Kelly Monaco who had to endure those scenes, knowing that it was her last day and knowing that, she had to leave. She was I mean, she had to go through all of that. And I know that must have been difficult. And so, always, I mean, shout out to her as well.
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So Kelly, a professional.
Mm-hmm.
I, the way things have been going, we don't know everything. I mean, Tanya and I truly are not people who have any inside information.
Mm-mm.
We find out stuff when y'all find out. Sometimes we find out stuff from y'all comments. So I have no idea what happened on the show, why she's gone, what's going on, but it clearly is something
Mm-hmm.
because when Frank tweets about the show, he's not tagging her. We know that she's left some comments, whatever. If it was me and I have been in the job 21 years, plus whatever she was doing on Port Charles, and y'all would have fired me, I'd have been like, y'all can call Lindsay Hartley. I ain't doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did she do it, she did it as like a very clear goodbye to the fans. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they had people monologuing over her body. The performances were amazing. These are like Emmy real type performances, and they were doing it over like her dead body.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
It's a
And
lot.
she was professional and she was still and she was and I don't mean that to be funny. I mean that to be like that is a really hard role to play when people who you care about and you've been working with for a long time are doing this in the room and
Mm-hmm.
she made them feel comfortable enough to like give these really beautiful performances.
I mean,
Um
like when Nancy Legrand was doing her scenes, I mean, she was hugging her, kissing her, moving her about, and all this other stuff, and she had to stay in character. That must have
right,
been like tough.
exactly. So I want to give a couple shout outs to some of the actors. Again, I agree with you. Young people, phenomenal. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, as both like the actor and as like the character, what we had
Mm-hmm.
Asher do, I mean, as like this big brother and Danny and taking care of his sister, beautiful
Yeah.
work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say her last name, but Cosette Abinanti.
Mm-hmm.
I know that she goes by Cozy. Um, uh, Phenomenal. I mean, every part of Scout's heartbreak you felt.
Mm-hmm.
Every word she said was just another thing that you were like, oh my God, just phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal young actress.
Mm-hmm.
And Finn Carr as Rocco,
Man.
what Rocco had to do was tough because he had just had these scenes where he talked about being jealous and he talked about
Mm-hmm.
these things, and he played those really well. He played this like conflict of like this teenager who loved this woman who was like helping to raise him, but
Mm-hmm.
also like missed his mom. And then instantly was able to get into the scene and like have this grief and guilt over Sam. And Jeannie Francis has been doing this forever. And
Mm-hmm.
so for him, and is phenomenal. It is amazing
Right.
and we'll get a performance every time.
Mm-hmm.
So for Finn Carr to be able to sit there with Jeannie Francis and give that performance, bravo, young man. It was excellent. I sobbed with Rocco. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect to because he had made me mad. Which we'll talk about in the storyline, but I don't want to talk about
Right.
the storyline. I would like the performance was just so good. What a talented young actor. We don't see him that often. We don't
Right.
see Rocco that much. There had been all this time and space between when we saw him the first time and then we saw him again. So these kids had to bring in all of this history that we've never seen. And
Mm-hmm.
they did such a good job in doing it.
Um,
So
yeah. And I also want to give a shout out to Kristen Vaganos and Kate Mansi. Now, we can talk about the storyline, but I think they accomplished what the writers wanted them to accomplish. And I think that goes to skill. Now, like people were comparing and contrasting, obviously, how Molly reacted versus how Christina
I love how
reacted.
much you've seen because I've not seen any of this. You're like, people said this.
And
I'm like, tell me what people
yes,
said.
people are just like, oh, Kristen Vonnegut is great, and she conveyed sadness and pure grief, whereas Kate Mansi was annoying and all this other stuff. And I was like, that was what the writers wanted these two to convey. They were annoying as heck as in terms of being sisters and Alexis having to come home and tell them to be quiet and stop fighting. They've been fighting over and over again, and obviously the audience is fed up. I'm fed up too, but that's what the writers want them to do, and they're doing an amazing job at making us be annoyed with them. And Kate Mansi is doing an amazing job of making us hate Christina, and Molly's doing an amazing job. I mean, Kristen Wagner is doing an amazing job of being like very bitter, very judgmental, and very critical of her sister. But those scenes, like Kristen Vargas did not say anything, but the grief was all in her face. She was crying. And, Kate Mansi was being, very selfish Christina. It was, loud and just annoying. They both pulled it off very well. So I do want to give them a shout out for doing that. We may not like the characters right now, but they're doing a good job of conveying them. So,
I mean, I don't dislike Molly to
okay.
be clear,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think I mean, whatever. Like we even when we say performer of the week, a lot of times we give it to multiple people,
Yeah.
and I think for me, picking out a performer or highlighting a performer is not to like diminish another one. So there's a
No.
way to say that you like Kristen's performance,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like, I mean, because I think that for me, watching it, what she did moved me more than what Kate as Christina did, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's to come? The thing about these kind of deaths, especially somebody who has the impact and the reach of Sam
Mm-hmm.
is that we should be seeing them go through this multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
That this is actually like when you lose a sibling, that's a part of you, that's a part of who your character is, even when we're not talking about
Yeah.
being on TV. Like, that kind of loss actually does reverberate. So who knows what we're going to see or how we're going to see it. But I
Yeah.
did think that KV had just did a really phenomenal job in like
Mm-hmm.
the shock grief. It was like
Mm-hmm.
instant, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really really impressed in the way that she was able to take that.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, as Steve, I'm not gonna get too far into like the what because we'll talk about all of that next because we're gonna talk about Sam first. But his performance was really good,
Mm-hmm.
and it again felt like not what Jason did, but what Steve did was
Mm-hmm.
like, I think him and Kelly really did that for the fans, and it really was appropriate to have this kind of bookend where like
Mm-hmm.
her first big love came in and had this goodbye moment, and then her current love came in and had this goodbye moment, and I
Mm-hmm.
really do feel like Steve and Kelly understood, particularly for J-Sam fans, this was like both of their longest relationship. No matter
Mm-hmm.
what you feel, who you ship, whatever, like this was their both of their longest relationships and gave so much of their like meaty story. They understood what that goodbye meant. They
Mm-hmm.
understood that. And they delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Steve really, really delivered in what needed to be done. I think I said this like a couple weeks ago, like I was never going to be satisfied with anything because we're losing Sam, but I better hear that song.
We're gonna be
And they
annoyed by that
listen,
song.
they gave me both verses in the chorus a couple times as I deserved.
Right.
I
I think
deserved
that's not
that.
going to be the last of this song. I think we're gonna
It
we're
might
gonna
be because, they be spending that
well,
money.
right. And it's a final note. Since it's my this little hot take is not necessarily it's still about the performances a little bit. But when I was watching older episodes of GH, I was actually kind of doing a mental comparison of how when Kiki died versus when Sam died. And it's interesting, and I'm not quite sure if I remember the circumstances of when Haley left, but I imagine it wasn't. I'm thinking it wasn't voluntary. I think she was let go because of writer, the story. And I
I
was
don't know.
watching it, and she had to kind of endure a similar thing where when
Mm-hmm.
she died, Ava was all over her, just like they used her body for that scene. But then after, what I noticed was that Ava was grieving, maybe a couple days later, they had all of Haley Aaron's photographs of when she was a kid. And so she had to give up some stuff about her that was personal that they didn't necessarily she didn't necessarily have to do, but she did. And so it makes me think about when people are leaving, what they have to do in order to complete the ending of the character in terms of storyline, and how much they have to give up of themselves in order to do it, and how difficult it might have been for Haley Aaron to have to do that. And now I'm thinking about, Kelly Monaco, what they're going to ask her to do to complete the ending of her character and how difficult that might be. It just made me think about that a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it was interesting. And it, she and Kelly Monaco obviously aren't the only ones that have had to be, let go. But I think how their memory lives on and how much they themselves have to give to that is pretty interesting to me. And that's similar to what's happening on Young and the Restless. A character named Heather died, and she's actually coming back. So she had to deal with the fact that she was let go because of plot. Now, obviously, she wasn't on the show as long as Kelly Monaco was, and neither was Haley. But still, having to be let go and then still be participatory after the fact must be hard. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I hear that, and I don't want to
Hmm.
diminish anybody else's experience.
Right.
I don't know Haley's experience at GH, but
Hmm.
whatever they had going on with Kelly felt personal,
Yeah.
and personal in a different kind of way.
Oh yeah.
And the other part is like they kind of didn't need to get all those other things from Kelly because she's been there for 20 years.
Right.
So you can
Yeah.
actually flash back to 20 years ago and get that. You don't need her
Hmm.
bringing baby pictures or anything because she's been there. Whereas
Yeah.
you have somebody like Gregory, who they
Hmm.
did have to get his real life because we have not seen him in that way. And for
Yeah.
me, like actually moving into the story and the show, the thing that I've seen, it's funny because you like saw all this stuff. I saw some stuff online, and I think maybe that's why I turned off because I was like annoyed, and I know that I'm like emotionally attached to like Kelly and to Sam, where people
Hmm.
were trying to pretend like this didn't matter or this was a good exit for her or whatever. And the reality is it's not. And I think as a Sam fan and as a Kelly fan, I have the right to say that it's not a good exit
Hmm.
because the precedent I think that a lot of fans were looking for, that I particularly was looking for, was set when they let Kelly Thibault go as Brit, who she left
Hmm.
on her own. She didn't
Hmm.
want to be there anymore. And we got a hero exit and a party. Like
Hmm.
all of these things were written around her character. We didn't get that for Sam. That
Yeah.
even like this surgery kind of towards the end, Lulu's hand got more like point of view than Sam did, and we had to endure all these people essentially set up a Lante reunion
Hmm.
before Sam was even gone. So for me, it's just I think a little frustrating, and that's why I was like, oh, okay, let me just like back offline because I ain't trying to argue with nobody over a soap for real.
Hmm.
But I found myself wanting to argue with people that I don't know what other Sam fans are saying, what other Kelly fans are saying. I can't speak to that, but I know for me, this feels like even looking at the flashback we will never have another couple like this, like J Sam, because the show doesn't write like that.
Hmm.
Because we don't have those same sort of adventures and that same like one of my favorite scenes has always been when she had on that face mask and he came in. They don't allow stuff like that to happen anymore because everything is plot, 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 gone, 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 plot that doesn't make sense. So to like have that and to like see how important and special that is in the storytelling, and to see it not happening anymore is like frustrating. And it as a Sam fan, it does hurt to see her get let go in that way. Like to know that she felt a way, and then
Hmm.
to have them be like, and don't you forget she's dead, dead.
Right.
Um, like ain't no
She
coming back from
ain't
this kind
coming
of
back.
thing.
Yeah.
Which we did talk about how that could be her doppelganger, Alicia, or anyway.
Right.
Uh, like I feel like we have seen Sam and Kelly be used in a real way on the show that we have not seen in the past few years.
Hmm.
Um, so anyway, let's get into the actual story point of it all. And then we can get more into this. So we obviously, Dante and Sam are engaged. Sam tells Alexis about it. They're having a great conversation, and then we don't even see it, but Sam codes. Um, as that is happening, Scout and Danny come back into the hospital to see their mom, and Danny gets sent away with her so that they could not be there when things go down. Um, and yeah, like Lucas has to be the one who calls time of death. Portia and Elizabeth are in the room, and here we are. Um, we knew it was coming. Obviously, we've been dreading it for a while. Were you surprised at how it went down, or what they showed or didn't show?
I wasn't surprised. I was just kind of anticipating and just saying, okay, so how are they gonna do this?
Mm-hmm.
And how would I feel about it? And yeah, it was more of a numb, it was numbing for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah,
Um, I felt, the new guy playing Lucas, that was good. I think he did a good job
he's really good.
conveying the pain and the desperation of wanting to make sure that his sister Day stayed alive. I think he did a great job in that.
Hmm.
Um, and it was just so sudden. And I'm still like I'm like Alexis. I'm like, I want to know how they're going to explain this because there are some people who feel it was wrong because of how, I guess, I don't know why they feel that transplants are always supposed to be successful. Like they don't want it portrayed in a way where it's not. Um, but you know, I think a lot of people were upset at the idea of someone who is donating dying. They
Mm.
didn't like that. They didn't like that. They didn't want to see that because it's bad for the movement of donating or something. And,
Hmm.
unfortunately, things happen that are unexplainable. But I'm like Alexis, I want to know how they're going to explain it. And at first, they guessed that she had an embolism. And now they're saying she had a heart attack. So I'm like, okay, so how? And then there's all these rumors around saying that actually she didn't have a heart attack, that Cyrus probably poisoned her. I'm like, okay. So which is it? So I'm
Yeah.
like Alexis, I'm like, what is the explanation? But I wasn't surprised by it. I was just anticipating and just wanting to see how they would write it.
Hmm.
Um, Also, the look that Alexis and Jason exchanged, that was okay, that was heartbreaking because it was like Alexis was like, no, 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 don't have them here. This is going to be bad, even though they're not wanting it to be bad. She's like, she knew this wasn't the right time for the kids to be here. And, Jason automatically getting it and being worried and scared and yet having to go into dad mode and get the kids out of there. I thought that was very poignant. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. And
Yeah.
just and it was really sad for me to have Dante and Rocco just chilling in a cafe talking about how their life is going to be great, or Dante is trying to tell Rocco that he asked Sam to marry him, and how Rocco's reacting to that. It's just sad to have that conversation happen all the while she's dying.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
That was tough. I will
Mhm.
say, I understand the transplant conversation, and I think
Yeah.
that if there is something else to it, then we
Hmm.
should have seen that.
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't be going into another week not knowing what happened.
Right.
Because like I just remember for people who watch This Is Us, like Crockpot took a hit when people found out like a house fire started with Crockpot. Like this actually does happen where people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh wow." Now, granted, I don't necessarily know like the reach of GH and if whatever, but it is particularly as a hospital show
Hmm.
important to not like just make people think that a routine surgery where people think you're doing well will kill you.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that we've learned that through how well they've handled HIV and AIDS. And I
Hmm.
think that because of that, that's why people expect them to have a little bit more care, like with the way they treat people. Like if they would have just killed, like if they would just kill Maxie with a heart transplant, like that would feel a way because you'd be like, oh damn, can that happen? Let me look that up. We see that all the time. People are like, is this real? Can this happen? Let me look this thing up. Let me see how often this happens. So I do understand. And I think that if they are going to tell a story that is like Cyrus did something or there's like something bigger at play with why Sam died, then they should have rolled it backwards so that we would have seen it, but the rest of the show, like everybody, other characters didn't know. I
Didn't
think that
see
would have been
it.
important.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess I'm a
and it didn't have to
little,
be.
yeah. As I'm a
Oh, go ahead.
little less sensitive to that as someone, and I know you are too, but someone that watches um Grey's Anatomy and other medical
Mm,
shows, having like them convey a death is not to me an automatic wariness about the procedure just because we've seen the death of it. an example
Yeah.
of a death. But
Yeah, but I
yeah.
think with
Hmm.
Grays it's also
Yeah.
a little different because
Hmm.
people like you really like lose somebody every episode, or
Right now,
you
we're
see
used
things
to
go
it.
really right. Yeah, like or
Yeah.
you see things go really well and then you see
Yeah.
some like
Yeah.
um you know, I think that when you balance it out with this thing went really well versus this thing didn't, it feels different
Hmm.
than this like very healthy person went in and gave like part of
Hmm.
their liver and then boom, heart attack. Like what? That doesn't even make and everything looked good and all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Um, I will say that I was I mean Drew. That his reaction, the fact that he didn't immediately go to his daughter, the like eulogizing of Sam right away. I wasn't here for it. I
Hmm.
wasn't. Obviously, I love Carly. I love Car Sam's friendship. I think the show regressed it in a way that was very unnecessary. Even the last scene that Carly and Sam had together was like not the scene of people who love each other. One of
Hmm.
my favorite Car Sam scenes is when Jason is kind of like just recently back, and so he doesn't know how close Carly and Sam got in his absence. And then Carly and Sam are kind of going at it, and that's when they find out that Carly's pregnant. And Sam was like, "Oh my god!" And her Carly kind of like celebrated, and Jason's looking on like, "Y'all I don't think that everything has to be kumbaya. I don't think that everybody has to be friends. But like let's give these women something to fight about that's not just men.
Hmm.
Um Even having Carly say like, "Oh yeah, Jason's always been what's between me and Sam." That's actually not true.
Hmm.
The first thing that was between you and Sam was
Was
Sunny.
Sunny. Yeah. That was
Like
it. Yeah.
and then this was like Carly shouldn't have liked Sam based on like how their storyline progressed.
Right.
Um And so, like, yeah, of course, I don't trust you with like my best friend, who I also am harboring some sort of weird feelings for. That all
Cause
makes sense.
yeah, because you came
Um,
after my husband first. Like, yeah.
and then that's what made for me made their friendship so special because these were two characters who I knew didn't like each other, but I liked both of them. And then they like fought their way into being friends.
Hmm.
So to even have like Drew just be like, Sam reminds me so much of you. What are we doing? What are we
Hmm.
doing?
Hmm.
Absolutely not. I
First of
did
all, he
like
doesn't even know them that well.
it's also that like Drew loved Sam.
Hmm.
Like I know that they don't know what to do with that character, evident by look around. Um, but we're not really clear as to what memories he has. Like he was married to Sam after Jason came back. Like it was underwhelming both in like Cameron Matheson's reaction and in Drew's writing. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, and I think he's now tainted by his current bad behavior for me.
Yeah.
Like, y'all gonna be shocked, but his scene with Cody,
You were Team Cody.
I was Team Cody in that
How could you not
instant
be?
because I was just like, dude,
Yeah.
he was,
It's
yeah.
gross.
So, yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about it that long.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so I liked the history. I'm a person who really likes the like, showing of history. So
Hmm.
I liked that Elizabeth like sat with Jason and talked with him and told him to tell the kids for Sam. It was like the Jason, Liz, and Sam have been so connected for so long. To
Hmm.
have the two of them kind of sit outside and talk about her felt right to me. Um, and it was a performance that I appreciated from both of them. I also loved when Elizabeth like put her chin like kind of on Lucas's arm, just to like provide that comfort because Sam and Elizabeth loved each other. Like
Hmm.
we unfortunately never got to see it, but I remember even when Dante got shot, um, Jake was like, they would come over for game nights, like all of these things that would happen. As Tara would call it, the off-screen extended universe. Um, these people are really close,
Mhm.
um, and
I
they've known each
mean,
other for a really long time.
I think the if the writers do right by the character, the funeral should be just full of flashback scenes
Yeah,
from multiple angles. Like,
yeah,
Carly thinking about the best fight she's had with Sam, Elizabeth doing the same thing,
hmm,
Laura and Nancy, Jason, Dante.
yeah,
There's just so many great Sunny, like
hmm,
so many memories that they can pull from, that history. Like that day, that whole day. And that's another thing that I was hearing was the fact that the show was not just dedicated to Sam's death.
hmm.
Like there was a lot of like um the flashbacks between Robert and Holly. Folks were just like, we didn't need to see that. We didn't see,
I love
you
how
know
plugged in you are to like what other people are saying. I'm like, I'm seeing none of this.
like we're like, we don't need to see no flashback from Robert and Holly. No one
I
cares about
certainly
that story.
didn't.
No
Not at
one cares
all.
about that story. They're like, we could have waited to see the fallout between Mello, like all of the things. Like there could have been a whole day devoted to the loss to Sam, and I agree. I would have liked seeing that. Um,
I mean, it depends to me on how long they let this run because I think about
yeah.
like Sam's other relationships. Like, are we going to be able to like really see Michael grieve her in the midst of whatever Michael got going on? Because Michael and Sam were close.
That's
Um,
yeah,
I
Michael
know
and
that
Sam.
there's a preview scene already of Jason going to tell Spixie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm like, is Maxie gonna feel guilty over basically wishing for Lante?
She probably
I
will.
hope so. Um, Sasha, like Sam was part of getting her out of the being like institutionalized. Like there are so
Yeah.
many people that have like new, old and new, who have these like really substantial relationships with her. So I really do hope that we can see Harley and Elizabeth like maybe commiserate over like becoming people who like were enemies to people who loved her. I hope that
Mm-hmm.
we get to see people who I hope that we get to see Michael step up for Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really do hope that this causes like reverberations. Because if I think about somebody like Emily's death, for example, that like caused like real, like it was like a domino falling. And so I am hopeful that that is what we see from Sam or for Sam, as opposed to just housing it in one day. So I was like, Lord. So on the other side of that, we do see prior to Sam's death, Isaiah, who is very cute, by the way, but come out and say that like he's like feeling optimistic about Lulu's surgery. We kind of hear Laura forgive Lucky for being a deadbeat. And then when Laura comes in, right when they're finding out about Sam, it was like I found her interaction with Sunny to be really interesting because they were like joking around. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
does Laura not hate Sunny anymore?
I thought the same thing because she turned on him and was like,
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do with you. But same thing with Anna. Anna and Laura both did that kind of, well, we're sick of you and this is it. And I don't know if we did Laura acknowledge that the fact that Sonny's back on his meds and now she forgives him or what? I don't know what
No.
happened with that. So she's back to like being, friends with him now.
At least joking with him and like sitting with
Mm-hmm.
him, like, before it was like this is a monster and I need him like away from my family
Right.
because of what he did to Cyrus. And now it's like she like looks at Cyrus weird and
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Like you need to tell me before you come and see my daughter. I'm
yeah.
like, and but Sonny can come through.
So I just was really confused by it.
Mm-hmm.
Um I I just also feel like this is a really weird way. So look, I've never liked the character of Lulu. I liked that's not true. I never cared for the character. I liked her when she was close to Carly,
Hmm.
before she got with Dante. So I liked her with Johnny, Zakara, some of that. I didn't like other things about the character. And when she kind of chose Dante over her family, over Carly and them, I kind of was over her. And
Hmm.
I understood Julie as being like a really important part of the show and like Luke and Laura's daughter. And so I had like a little bit more patience for her. When Lulu was no longer Julie, didn't care. Sorry, M. No shade on you. No shade on your performance. None of that. Just didn't care about Lulu. Was always annoyed by her. Did found her to be very self righteous, and I didn't think that Lante had like the same sort of chemistry that they had in the first place. So I cannot imagine how I'm gonna feel about Lulu Carey when Alexa Havins comes in. Like I'm definitely not gonna care because that actress is associated with not great character for me. And this actress is now going to be associated with Sam being gone. I feel bad for her. That's a horrible entrance of a character. Now, mind you, there are people who don't like Sam, so maybe those people will gravitate towards, this character. But for me, I never liked Lulu, so I certainly am not gonna like her now.
Hmm. I am a little bit more open-minded on that, just because I have so much respect for Alexa Havins as an
Mm,
actress, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how she ends up portraying Lulu. Lulu definitely was an enemy of mine when she turned on Michael, and so I did not like that. But I did like her friendship with Maxie,
mm,
and I did like I love Julie Berman as an actress as well. So I'm going to at least try to separate how I feel about how they're reintroducing her, um, from just wanting to understand, what she's going to bring to the canvas, what kind of story she's going to have, and be interested in um, seeing. I think this is also an opportunity for some really great acting for Dominic, for
mm,
Dante to try to navigate the fact that he's mourning um, his fiance, who he was celebrating that she did such a wonderful thing for Lulu, and now
right.
she's dead, and having to grapple with all of those feelings. It's going
Yeah.
to be really great acting opportunities for both Alexa and Dante, because it's I mean, we all think it was disrespectful for Maxie to talk about it, but it did happen. Lulu was in love with Dante at the time that she went into the coma. So, what does that mean now she's going to wake up? Is she going to wake up still in love with Dante and try to pursue him? Or is she going to not remember anything? And
Which we've
she's
already done with her.
yeah, right. Or is she going to remember everything and all the conversations that people have been having in her ear sight? That will be hilarious to me. But I'm just, I'm a little bit more open-minded. I'm not gonna have too much negative thought about her coming back onto the scene. So I'm just gonna be open-minded about it.
You're way more fair than me. So that should make some interesting conversations when that happens
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
closed off.
You're like, I'm done.
I'm closed off bitter. I've always hated Lante. Like, no matter who
But
was in Lante, like,
yeah.
it's just not it for me. So,
But, I don't know, for some reason when I decide that I'm gonna hate a character, they could do something where I'm just like, okay, like Cody.
well, but like, that's the thing I think
Yeah.
that was so clear to me during the JSAM like flashbacks.
Yeah.
Like, just the like difference in the writing and the ability to like a character. I
Hmm.
remember, when Sam and Jason broke up that first time, Jason was I you never need to speak to me again, sir. You
Right.
go take your liaison hair and you go get with Liz. I hated that greasy, dirty ass like liaison, like
Yes,
shag hair he
shag
had. Disgusting.
bullets.
You can keep it over there. And when he threatened to kill Sam, like I
Oh
was
yeah.
done with that man, over it. I was like, whatever. She watched Jake get taken, showed like that she did you a favor. Now you know to watch your baby. Like I
Right.
was over it. Um, and it was the story that brought me back to them.
Hmm.
What we know is Sexico. Like all of that brought me back to them, and it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like, oh, they're looking at each other again. I'm gone. It was
Right.
like, okay, Sam got this like redemption that she didn't need from me, but she got this redemption, and now her and Lucky have broken up, and now this, and now that, and now they're back. Now they're back together in this like way, and they have this story.
Hmm.
And I just feel like do not get that anymore. Like the show doesn't even try to write stuff like that anymore. I would say the closest that we got to any sort of like character redemption through story is probably Cody, to be honest. And it
Hmm.
didn't work for you. And then they did it on the back of his kissing cousin.
Hmm.
So what are we really doing here?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they totally destroyed Drew as a character. Drew was a very sympathetic character prior to Cameron Matheson coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and partially that's because of, who played him, but also because of the way he was written. He
Yeah.
was somebody who was brainwashed, didn't know who he was. He was lied to. He found love through Sam, and then he found his son and lost his son to cancer. And then he was able to redeem a bad character in Franco and found a way to love him. And he's supposed to be the good guy.
Yeah.
And his character has now been destroyed due to writing choices alone.
It's writing
And
choices, and it's also like they just started writing him as Ryan Lavery.
right.
And this is not the soap for that kind of character. It's
Mhm.
just not. And I think like you have Sunny who is kind of like the center of things. I do think that that's part of the reason that it's hard for them to write because just like you're watching old stuff, I've been really into some old stuff lately. I'm like, oh yeah, Sunny used to be like an actual anti-hero.
Mhm.
And in some cases actually a baddie. Like there was stuff that they allowed him to do that other people turned their nose up at. He wasn't so widely accepted. He wasn't just like the dad and the granddad and whatever. He actually had a compound. He actually was, like it was. Do you remember when he choked up Edward? It's not funny, but oh my god, do you remember when he like choked up Edward Quartermain?
No, I don't
I'm gonna
remember
send you the
that.
clip. It was wild.
Okay.
And so it's like he was that kind of character. Now you want us to still think that he is like a big bad, but you also want to write him in this other way. And so because he becomes like this moral center, Drew just looks slimy.
Mhm.
Because though even Sonny's affair was written like, well, like he was in love and he was whatever. Drew straight up looks like he is creeping on Willow. We can actually move
Mhm.
to them, and if we come back to Sam, we
Right.
can do that. But like he actually looked like he was creeping on Willow. Imagine it was crazy to me that he thought it was appropriate for him to tell Michael without giving Willow a heads up.
Even
You
more
could have
crazy.
easily. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
even more crazy, he's even doubling down on Willow not telling Michael the whole truth. For what? For
For
his
what?
reputation?
For what? It was nuts. And so it was, obviously we what right into another story. So we know last week we had the Cody and Drew, or maybe that was this week. We had the Cody and Drew showdown at the bar.
It was this
Um,
week.
so Nina tells Drew his polling numbers are down. He needs to go be like a everyday man. So they're gonna go to an everyday man bar, even though everybody in the town goes there. Um, and Cody, after finding out from Sasha that they're kissing cousins, also goes to the bar because he's upset. And
Smacks the
he sees Drew. He's just like, dude is a creep because Sasha had already told him, you
right.
know. And he punches him and he yells about Drew kissing his nephew's wife and sleeping with Nina or sleeping with his. All of this is so messy yet so boring. Drew and Willow have not slept together. I mean, boring in a way of like, this is a boring affair. What are we
Oh yeah.
doing?
Right.
Like, them not like y'all had a couple secret hushed kisses and some glances. Ugh, what? And they're still lying. So Willow doesn't know that Michael knows about the other kiss. She also doesn't know about Drew and Nina sleeping together. Help me out. How are you feeling about all this?
Actually, I thought there were parts of it that were very fun. Okay, so the
No, no,
fact
no.
that
I don't think it's. I think that the affair part is
oh, the
boring.
fair part.
Like that
Yeah,
y'all
the
have had
oh, it's not.
kisses, and this is
Yeah,
while the
the
drama is
fair.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, the fair is not as serious as the drama that's playing out around it.
Yes.
Um, I agree because, like, I think maybe I saw a comment or something like somebody saying at least let them sleep together to make it worth
I've said
it.
that many
Oh yeah,
times.
you were saying that. So they didn't do that. But like I said, there were some parts of this, all of the scenario that was very fun. It was fun for me to see Cody go in and, punch at Drew. It was
Mm-hmm.
definitely fun for me to see Ned videotape it and Ned and Tracy watch it in the living room.
And
That was
just giggling about
giggling
it.
about it. That was hilarious. I loved every bit of that and then Ned and Tracy thinking they can blackmail Drew. That was fun. I mean, I enjoyed all of it.
And Drew say,
Um,
"You can't blow up my life. I'm gonna
I'm
blow it
gonna
up
blow up.
myself."
I'm gonna blow up and then I'm also very much anticipating um Michael Sonny Corinthos going off. Cause
Mm.
like goes back, he knows about the two kisses and gives Willow the opportunity to tell the truth, and Willow doesn't. And supposedly they forgave each other, but I know Michael ain't forgiven. He's about to come out with some sort of plan to blow up everybody's spot, and I cannot wait for Evil Michael to reemerge. And it's gonna be great.
I am interested to see what happens, particularly like if the weight of losing Sam like
Right.
changes or moves things around in any of this. Because Jason straight up just being like, somebody else needs to tell Drew, and I'm gonna tell Drew's daughter.
Right.
And Drew's
I'm
daughter's gonna call
gonna
me Uncle Jason, but I don't even talk to that man. Like,
right.
hilarious. Um, but I'm interested in seeing what that was. I am really glad they had Sasha and Michael sleep together.
Me
I've
too.
been a Sasha and Michael fan since the beginning. I never thought they should have broken up. I thought when they did like the kind of breakup, it didn't make sense because I felt like Chase and Willow and
Right.
Michael and Sasha had more chemistry than Michael and Willow had.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I like Chase and Brooklyn, and I understand that dynamic, but the Willow and Michael thing, it never was given. And it never was given because I personally don't think that Katie and Chad have it. I think
Hmm.
she has more chemistry with the dude who's the temp Michael. So, whatever. Um, I was confused about Michael sleeping with her. I was like, is Michael about to have Project Twins?
I
Like,
think that would be hilarious.
like Michael about
Ah,
to have Nina's daughter and her fake daughter pregnant at the same time.
there's a meme going around. Oh, I think it was on Facebook. Someone posted a picture of Michael having slept with all of Nina's daughters. And they put Sasha in there, even though she's not a real daughter, she's the fake daughter, but still.
Well, that happened before this.
Yeah.
Michael and Sasha had been slept together.
Yeah. But I'm saying
So,
he slept with all of he slept with all of Nina's kids. So
he did.
that's yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
And
there's still obvious.
he's also slept with all of Silas Clay's daughters
Yeah.
because it was
Oh, Michael. But there's still, yeah, apparently there's still more fallout to come out because Willow still doesn't know that Drew's sleeping with Nina. So that's gonna come out at some point. Um, yeah.
yeah,
And we don't know how, and Nina gave Drew a look, so we don't know how she's gonna react to all of this.
right.
Um, so mm,
It's just like all of these weird non-truths.
yeah.
I think what is it? The other person who really know everything that happened is Sasha. Like
Right.
just
She's the only one who
there.
knows everything.
Because when Willow was like the second kiss, Nina's face dropped. Yes, girl, he was sleeping with you and making out with your daughter. This is what happened.
Yes. Yes.
He's gross.
Yes. Very gross. So he needs to either lose his campaign and then kind of slither away or win the campaign and we never hear from him again.
Really, real.
Right.
But
Right.
I still just cannot get over and understand why he would have felt like he needed to tell Michael over Willow and not giving her a heads up. Even if you agreed to being blackmailed, you could have agreed and then went and broke it up. Like, what are we talking about? This
This man don't
was not
care.
necessary. So silly. So anyway, um, we also have Anna searching for Valentine. Um, so Anna goes to Brennan first and is like, help me find Valentine. I love that Brennan did not care. Anna came in emotional. She, was just really feeling it, and Brennan was like, no, ain't got to do with
And
me.
and let me remind you that this wouldn't be the case if you hadn't decided to turn.
Right, exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah, yikes. That was a little
don't
bit of a mess.
don't come crying to me.
And then I was tripping because then she goes to Jason and Spinelli, and I was just like, I would like to get Anna out of this commissioner job because you are at the mob restaurant planning another crime
Hmm.
with like another mobster and a hacker. We're done here, Anna. Get another job. We're done being commissioner. Go be freelance. Go, honor Sam at at Jacqueline McCall. Do something. This is a mess.
Now, did you watch in your flashbacks with J Sam? Did you see the scene where um Spinelli is introduced to Sam and Jason? A
Hmm.
change in Spinelli from the first
Yeah,
dorky person who thought he was
yeah.
cool to now is hilarious. I was
I
watching it and
know.
laughing. I was
I
like,
know.
wow, he has changed a lot. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And the preview for next week, um, Jason is going to tell Spinelli, and I think I saw a
Yeah.
video of him being like, you know, y'all, she's the reason that we were friends or something like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. I hope they show that on television. It was hilarious.
Oh my God, yeah, they do a flashback for that. Oh, it would be
Yeah.
beautiful. I would love
Yeah. Yeah.
it. So I'm interested to see if Charlotte or Valentine comes back. I will say that I just before we push record, I was on Twitter and JPS was like tweeting about how he lives in Oregon now. So I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a quick flight. I don't know.
Yeah, it's closer to, LA, so he can do a scene every once in a while.
Yeah,
Shout
so I'm
out to
interested to see
Oregon.
West Coast.
So,
So yeah, I'm interested to see if that means he's coming back or if he's
yeah.
not or what they're doing. If Charlotte's coming back in any capacity. Um, I'm also interested in seeing like what they're doing with like the ages of the kids
Mm,
because um, Georgie is like still younger, but Aiden looks, Aiden looks 35, and he certainly looks older than Georgie. So anyway, also I wrote down Anna said Jason trusts you with his life, and I trust Jason with mine. And then Jason looked at her, and I was like, I am not interested in Jason and Anna. Let's
Nope,
move on.
nope, nope.
We also got Holly. Holly got Diamond. She had a scene with Sunny and Jason. She thinks that she now has enough diamonds to like
Gray rocks.
retire,
Here's some gray rocks. What's
right? To
going
like
on?
retire now. Um, and yeah, I think that's interesting. Sasha's not interested in her. And to your point, we had her having all these flashbacks with Robert that I was not interested in.
Right. Not at all. She needs to slither away as well. I think her purpose has been served, but it looks like what's his name is coming back and it's going to threaten her. So, fortunately, we'll have to see more.
I just, I've never cared about Robert and Holly. I certainly don't care now. And this story, I've never liked Holly. I didn't like Holly, particularly when she kind of let Sam's brother die. I also think it's interesting that Sunny has no heat for her for letting Courtney die. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just have nothing for Holly, and I don't know why they thought this was a good story for her. She looks terrible in the story.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real redemption. I mean, she even was like, she goes to Robert and asks him, can you reach out to Sasha because she's ignoring me? Like, how selfish are you? Can't you understand that she doesn't want to see you right now? This is
Right.
and then you're gonna go in and barge in on Robert and be like, hey, can you reach out to her for me and tell her to call me? Ma'am, no. Sit down, go away. Take your little gray rocks and fly somewhere else. And he like,
Right.
again, she even redeemed Cody, trying to get Cody to go off with her on some trick, and Cody was like, nope.
No. Yeah.
Because I have the love of a good woman.
Oh
Uh,
my God, so gross. I did really like Cody and James. I
yeah.
love that Ned threw little James under the bus. Um,
What
because
is he gonna so let's see how low they will make Drew go. If Drew goes up to James, is like, look, can you keep this a secret? I swear to
right,
God. I swear to
right.
God.
Because Sasha's or not Sasha, but Willow's like the only reason that anybody knew is because of Sasha's mouth. No, girl,
No,
that's not.
no.
It's
It was
absolutely not.
because you were running your mouth and James heard it.
And James, but I did love the Spixie scenes where Georgie was dressed up like Xenon. That gave me all
Yeah,
the feels. She was
yeah.
very cute as Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. If you haven't watched it, get your life.
And she looks a
Um,
lot like Georgie, that the other actress that played
yeah,
Georgie. She looks
Lindsay,
a lot like
yeah,
Lindsay. Yeah.
hmm yeah.
So that was very cute.
I was delighted. I was very
I
delighted.
knew you would
Uh,
be.
I went back and like listened to the song. I posted it up on Instagram with the song.
Oh,
Um, I also really enjoyed, even though it was short, the Portia Trina scenes. Just like the support, like of asking how she's doing. I think that Tabiana and Brooke have like a great chemistry. And like Brooke, she really like portrays like Portia's care for Trina. I wish I gave Portia more to do besides, worry about Trina. But we do get this preview of her saying that Trina saying that she has this partner that she hasn't spoken to, and that feels like it's the preview of the young man they're bringing on to be in her life. So that'll be
and
interesting.
this is something that we wanted. Remember, because we used to request, or at least I remember saying it, that I wanted Trina to have some black student be
Hmm.
her dude, and it looks like that
Yeah,
might be happening. So,
yeah.
yay.
And again, I'm a person who's, you know, fully available to multi-ship, just like I loved J Sam and I love Sante. I actually have loved all of Sam's pairings. Like I
Hmm.
can love if the chemistry is right and they give a good story, I'm gonna love whoever they bring on for Trina because that's how a character grows. So
Hmm.
excited to see what that looks like. Um,
Maybe he'll be Isaiah's long lost brother.
yeah, maybe.
You know, GH is
Uh,
gonna have to tie, like, if the audience likes him, they're gonna have to tie him to somebody.
to somebody. I mean, it
Yeah.
took Sasha how many years to now be tied to
All
a
right.
family. So
To
we'll see.
family. Yeah. And that's the only thing that makes Holly's appearance great. Even though Holly could have wrote a letter and told her that she didn't have to be in the town to do it. But
I just I just think it just makes
yeah,
Holly look so bad, so
it
selfish.
does. Very
Just like a
bad.
terrible human. So I don't know.
Yes.
And I never had any like good feelings about Holly anyway. So this really is just like yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you have any other hot takes? I am realizing that we are at the end of anything I had written.
I think what else happened that was interesting that I wanted to
I think we
mention.
talked about everything that happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was hard. I had to rewatch the show. Like a lot of times, I'll like rewatch it for other notes. But I was so like focused, laser focused on Sam and like dreading everything that I just couldn't even look at whatever else.
Hmm.
So I had to like watching it again felt like watching it for the first time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you end up going live? I had a little bit of a
I
busy work
didn't.
week.
I
Okay.
didn't.
Yeah.
I was too sad. I was like, forget this. I saw there was a People magazine article that like, or maybe it was People. I think it was People of like
Hmm.
Days of Our Lives stars who were talking about Kelly Monaco being gone, which I found to be interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh.
guess that maybe they did it because, or no, it was U.S. Weekly. It was Us
Okay.
Weekly or U.S. Weekly or whatever. There was like Day of Days, like a big Days of Our Lives event. Um, and maybe they just asked because it was, I don't know, daytime. Um, yeah, I would be interested to see Kelly show up at Days. I'd watch that. And they can maybe bring back Greg Vaughn for.
Oh yeah, her and Greg Vaughn together, I guess. Is Greg Vaughn not on the show anymore at Days of Our Lives?
No, he exited with Nicole because it was like all that like drama over there where they fired Art. Like, yeah, it was a lot of like really
Oh.
weird drama that was happening. So yeah, 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 he stopped.
Uh yeah,
But
and then they recently fired Brandon Barash too now.
yeah, hmm everybody's like,
So,
oh, but he can come back to days. I'm like, or to GH. I'm like, y'all gotta bring some women back because it's nothing but
right.
men. I was
Nothing
seeing
but men.
speculation. I was seeing speculation that they were gonna like try to have like a Dante, Lulu, Cody love triangle. I was like, what's going
No,
on? No.
no, no.
So anyway, next week, ready for scenes for that?
Okay.
Monday, Sam's loved ones reel from the news of her passing. Robert and Holly revisit their past.
Again?
Sunny, I know, Sunny supports Dante. Alexis has a request for Christina and Molly. So it kind of just feels like it's, still the same. This could have been what Friday, but yeah, it makes sense that this will still be happening. Tuesday, Sasha and Willow have it out. Christina is horrified. Ava issues an apology. Carly is stunned. Jason and Diane have a heart to heart. I wonder if what Carly is stunned about is to find out about Drew and Michael. Because when Carly
Uh,
came by and Drew was like, "Good to see you," I'm like, "You ain't thinking that maybe she came by about her baby boy?"
mm. Do you don't think
Mm,
she's gonna not have anything to say about that too? Oh.
okay. Um, Wednesday, Anne delivers grave news. Carly seeks Brennan's help. Michael is suspicious. Dante opens up to his parents. Portia meets with Isaiah. Thursday, Jason states his terms. Anna is skeptical. Brennan fears for Carly's safety. Lucas confides in Brad. Alexis opens up to Sunny. And Friday, Rick pays a visit to Anna. Jason is summoned to the PCPD. Brooklyn and Chase make a big decision. Tracy strategizes with Cody. Holly is rebuffed, which she deserves.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess like we'll see whatever they're doing with Sidwell. I'm wondering if Isaiah is going to get offered like a job. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'll be watching obviously like I do next every week, but I'm interested in seeing how the news of Sam's death and then like the Drew and Willow affair kind of coincide. Also interested if Willow finds out about Sasha and Michael sleeping together because it does feel like there's like the kind of classic trope of like I think you know more than what you know. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see what that looks like as well.
Yeah. And it looks like Willow's all about blaming Sasha, so she's probably going to confront Sasha about spilling the beans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Woo. Well, whatever happens, we will be here and we will see y'all next week. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend about Sunday Shift, and we will see you next week. Peace. Or bye, y'all.
Bye.